Robert Myron Coates was an American writer and art critic. He was born in 1897 in New Haven, Connecticut, the son of Frederick Coates, a master toolmaker, tinker, and inventor, who owned a bicycle shop. Coates and his family traveled often all over the US, so that he was forced to attend many different schools. After graduating from Yale, he traveled around Europe in the 1920s, living in Paris between 1921 and 1923, before moving to the small town of Giverny, which had once been the residence of Claude Monet. He had also been the art critic on The New Yorker from 1937 to 1967. He died in New Haven in 1973. Coates's most famous work was his 1930 The Outlaw Years, dealing with the land pirates of the Natchez Trace. Today we will review his first novel, the 1926 The Eater of Darkness. The novel had been virtually impossible to find in any of its editions, and even the 1959 reprint has commanded prices of $70 or more, while any other edition was sold between several hundred and over $1,000. Indeed, The Eater of Darkness had been one of those novels which are mentioned in genre biographies, but remain unreprinted and demand huge prices. That is, it was until 2021, when City Point Press finally republished it for the first time since 1959. We find Charles Dogras eking out a miserable existence in New York, unable to find work and almost out of money, after having abandoned a woman he loved and sailed from Paris. It is never quite noted why he had done so. One day he suddenly comes across an old semi-naked man sitting in front of a strange machine, reading off notes and figures he had scrawled all over his own skin. Inviting Charles to sit down, he is made to pull a lever. This sends out a strange X-ray bullet, the Eater of Darkness, which travels for a page worth of items, objects, and persons, observed by Charles through an eyepiece, before entering the brain of Edward Trolge. Commanding Charles to press a button, they see the brain struck by the bullet, and later learn the man died while having his brain cooked inside his skull. Charles is of course mortified to have killed a man, even if he was manipulated to do so unawares, but the strange old man gives him money and pulls him deeper in, so that the two perpetrate many such murders in the following days, for no real reason. The old man is noted to be a world-class rogue, with many aliases and fake identities, having stirred up trouble and been a thorn in the side of the law in France, Russia, India, and the US. Charles faints when he reads their first murder in the papers, and is picked up by a man who thinks he is cousin Herbert, come to town after the death of Uncle Edward. Taking him to the Kruger house, he is outed by Adeline, a pretty girl he knows as a dancer from the circus, and flees. Charles and Adeline do come together later, and have a nice time of it anyway, so much so Adeline is soon found to be pregnant. Meanwhile, after Charles uses the device to kill 9 literary critics in 9 leading newspapers, the old man makes a move on him, which he rejects, while also finding out he really is the infamous rogue Picarolas. The two then plan a bank heist, using the raid to kill 18 people at once, but Picarolas wants to murder Charles too for having spurned him. Meanwhile, Adeline, when finding out Charles murdered her uncle, wants to kill him too, and then a woman-beating police officer Fred lures Charles out to acquire a promotion. This all leads to a 4-car car chase away from the bank to an old house, where Charles meets his doom amid shots from the police and Adeline and a plane overhead poised to throw a bomb at him. The bank robbery part is the low point, but the catastrophic doom-laden ending makes up for that.